Hello, it's Twanna Carter here. How are you doing? I'm a career coach and I help high achieving professional women overcome that anxiety and that doubt that can come from shifting into a new career. And I do that by helping them to recognize and express their unique value and by instilling a deep sense of belief in their own strengths and capabilities so they can confidently and courageously pursue a path of purpose, right? Create their own success and pursue a path of purpose that's meaningful to them. So, today, if you saw the trailers, I am talking about the three types of career shifts. And this is part two of a three-part series. I've already done part one where we talked about the most difficult one first, and that's that career transition. I like to call it the 180-degree turnaround. And if you missed that one, you can watch it on my channel at YouTube. Just look forward to Twanna Carter, right? So today we're talking about the second type of career shift. It's not as challenging, right, as that functional shift is, but it's got some things you need to look at. So we're talking about a geographical shift. So, and geographical could be anything. It could be city to city, it could be state to state, it could be country to country, continent to continent, depending on where that job is. And if you're in the United States, we like to talk East Coast, West Coast, from the north to the south. And I'm sure it's the same way in other countries. So when a geographical shift, right? It's important to understand not to talk yourself out of it. Well, I got to compete against the people that are there. They're less likely to pick me. And actually, that's not always true. Companies will do hiring outside of the geographical area because they're having problems getting candidates inside of their area. That's a plus for you, right? You just gotta, it's a little trickier when you come down to it, right? I talked to you about the functional shift, and you should still do things like informational interviews, right? You can also, some people do job shadowing. A lot of people will take a week off and go to whatever area it is to do job shadowing. You can actually do that. Little trickier, if it's country to country, because you've got a whole lot of things to consider, like visas and other things, if you're moving from one country to another. So you have to be aware of those kinds of things, right? And always, you should always still use your network. Still use your network because, with LinkedIn, we're all over the globe. People are all over the globe on LinkedIn. So you'd be surprised at who you know. And maybe you can call up a friend or a family member, right? To do to do a job shadow experience or really just talk about someone in that area. So you're still doing the same thing, and it's the risk for an employer of the geographical move, right? Because employers have been burned. They have put up monies, to help people move. If you got to sell a house, they're guaranteed to sell and all these other things, and then people will move in and go, I hate this place, and then they're gone in 4 or 5, 6 months, or even a year still. That's very expensive for an employer. So to get over that hurdle, you'll want to do things like, if you're, for instance, I remember doing some research on Texas. So Texas, Austin is really huge for millennials. So if you are moving into a place, do like I did. I called up the Chamber of Commerce. I Googled the Chamber of Commerce for Texas, and that's how I found out. It's a great place for millennials. Talk to a realtor like, hey, I'm getting ready to move here. What is a good place for me to live? And they typically have things broken down by, like, here's a place for people with kids, or here's a place for people with younger kids or older kids or single people or millennials or people who are pretty much retired. They have all of that information for you. Google the Chamber of Commerce, ask those questions, go in and look at, they'll tell you the average age of people, what do they typically do, what's the average education level. All of these things are available right there at your fingertip. And what you do, because a lot of times, if you have to physically go for the interview, you're spending some time. Most of the time, you don't always just walk in, do the interview and leave. Sometimes they may take you to lunch. I've had that. I've done an interview. They came in, they took me to lunch. I interviewed, they showed me the plant and all that stuff, right? So, why am I telling you that? If you spend a lot of time with people, slip some of the information that you learned from the Chamber of Commerce. Like, yeah, I'm considering moving to this side of town. Is this a great place? What about that? What that does when you already know, if you have kids, know where the school systems are, know how, depending on your kids, where you might want to move, slide those things into the conversation. That lets that company know you are very interested in moving to that area, and you want to be like upbeat, you want to be thrilled about moving, you want to be excited, enthusiastic about whatever, if it's a new city, a new state, or a new country. Be excited about it. Make sure you're transmitting that to the employer so that they know that, they're not throwing money down the drain by taking a risk, right? And hiring you. And it can be done. And of course, there is also the thing, you may not necessarily get that chance because you may do Zoom interviews or the thing now, but still, if you're answering, hey, I was in this section and just like here, I plan on whatever, you can slide that information in. Again, you're just making that interviewer comfortable that you're planning on staying, right? And like I said, I've done, the typical thing is to try not to do a functional move where you do a career shift, 180-degree career shift, and a geographical, transition at the same time. It makes it a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging. It can be done though. I've actually done both. I did a completely 180, got a brand new career, and I moved from North Carolina to Florida. Right? Stayed there 4 years. It was a good move. It can be done, but sometimes there are a lot of moving parts to that, where you're going to live and making sure you get people excited that you let people know you're excited about the area, and then a whole lot of things that you got to line up that you don't normally have to do if you're getting a job where you are, right? So I just want to be sure that yes, I checked my notes and everything is there. And let me just say again that if you missed part 1 of this video, you can again catch it on my YouTube channel. And let me put my YouTube channel in the comments so you don't have to actually look for that. And there you go. And so there it is, right? And so those of you on YouTube, I'll drop that link later. Of course, you're on YouTube, so you should probably know I'm already there on YouTube, right? But yes, so I'll see you back next week when I do part 3, talking about the 3 types of transition. We've talked about the 180 career transition, or the functional, where you do something totally different. Today, I spoke to you about the geographical, where you're changing geographical area, be it north, south, different state, different city, different continent, different country, right? And next week, I'll be back here talking about an industry career move. All right. So I appreciate you watching. If you have questions about this, be sure to comment. I always circle back and answer all the comments that you leave, and let me know what types of career changes have you done? Have you done a geographical already? Have you done a functional or 180-degree? If you've listened to me before, you know I've done over 11 career transitions, so I've done a little bit of everything. All right. And if you are considering doing a career shift, whether it's 180-degree or geographical, and you're just not quite sure how to start, where to start, I do a 15-minute free consult, career transition consult. Just DM me and I'll get back with you and set that up for you. Take care and have a great day.